All right, I'm going to give it another minute or two, people. Just have some stragglers coming in right now, but I do want to welcome you and thank you for joining. I do promise you this will not take the entire hour, um, and we'll definitely get you back to working or heading out to lunch. I know it's lunchtime there for the Central Time Zone, but I'll definitely get you out of here in about a half hour. Just give it another minute or two, and then we'll start. Do ask though, you guys keep yourselves on mute. And any questions that you do have, please put it in the chat. Towards the end, I will go through and read off any questions that we have in the chat. I will also be recording this as well, so you can take a look at this um, after, and then you can also share it to anyone else on your team that you may want to view this, or anyone that could not make it as well. So we have a good number of you already here too. So I guess we're going to start right now. So I do, again, thank you for attending for what's hoped to be many, many more of these with us. I'm sure everyone knows who I am. I'm John Spagnolo here with IQ. Most of you probably have heard of me. If not, IQ Reseller is an ERP platform designed for the resellers in the iTech industry. We also have Trevor McPeak on here from Quipt that's going to be giving you the demo of Quipt 2. Trevor, what's your role here at Quipt?
I'm the vice president of operations, but I assume that most people who are on this call don't really care what my role is here. But I'm guessing the majority are either interested in selling online or have a small number of marketplaces and are looking for a solution to support that activity.
Right? Titles really mean nothing in today's world. So let's get started here. Do my little spiel here of exactly why clean data matters. And you guys will see as we go through this, and we'll show how Quip can make selling online so easy, that it really kind of starts with the data. The data has to be clean and accurate. Not only is it essential that you want your data to be clean and accurate within IQ, but it also then makes the field that your customers that you're trying to sell the product to, that they can trust that they are going to get exactly what they're buying on any of those marketplaces. It also makes the setup process a lot easier and smoother as well. A lot of certain things that you want to think about, especially any of our legacy customers that are using IQ, or new customers as well, that they're thinking, okay, how exactly do I want to sell this product out there into the marketplace, is you want to take a use of product descriptions. You want to make sure that they're accurate and complete, and provide full, good description of exactly what that product is, as well as using product attributes to include the functionality, what works, what does not, color, condition, and the configuration of that exact unit as well. A lot of that is user friendly. It can always be changed. You can always update it as well. We also make it easy for you to know to go clean up. So if you're thinking to myself, how do I even get my product? I think my product descriptions are a mess. My product color is a mess right there. You know, making it easy, we allow multiple different ways to edit the product descriptions within IQ, ability to now remove off older descriptions or older attributes to products that you just don't want to use. Or if you have a lot of bad master items or bad product descriptions within IQ, you can also just mark them in active now. So that's always good. I know one example that I always give out is, when you have human interaction in with software, you can get misspellings all the time. You're like, well, that's going to screw things up. It's actually something not to worry about, because the mapping that you have to do with Quip makes it really, really simple. You can also mark it inactive to where it just can't be used as, but you'd be surprised also how many people can spell keyboards in different ways as well. One way to kind of get around on that, especially when it comes to a lot of the technologies out there, is to automate as much as possible. There's a ton of data diagnostic tools that we do integrate in with. They're fully customizable, that will actually pull the real manufacturer data right off of the unit, and we can plaster that right into IQ, which you'll see now when Trevor goes through and gives his demo and talks more about Quipt and selling online. You'll see how that's going to really matter. So I'll pass it off to Trevor here, and he'll take you through.
Awesome. Thanks, John. So the first slide is just a high-level visual of the traditional model. What we see most of the clients who are approaching us interested in supporting their e-commerce activity is this is what it looks like for them today. Is they have their factory or their warehouse. They don't have the tools to directly go to the end user. So they're selling through a series of intermediaries, distributors, resellers that are ultimately going to put it in the hands of the customer. What that leaves you with is lack of visibility of where it's being sold at for what price, as well as diminished returns, because you're selling it through multiple intermediaries. You're really giving them a percentage of what the actual end user price is going to be. That leads us into our model with our integration with IQ Reseller, as well as integrating to all of the major marketplaces. You have a single tie-in, which manages all of your inventory, all of your listings, pricing management, a full end-to-end solution with the reverse and forward logistics to support all of that activity. So a much more streamlined approach that gives you full control over where it's being sold, for what price, which nets you a higher recovery. With that, I'm going to jump straight into the demo. The first thing that I want to show is how easy it is to sync IQ Reseller with Quipt. So I'm sure all of you are familiar. This is the landing page when you first log in. I'd go ahead and click Add API User. I can copy that, paste that into Quipt, and now we're synchronized with IQ Reseller. We'll start ingesting filtered data, and we'll go through the filters momentarily, but this supports all of the inventory updates, catalog, orders, serialization, etc. A number of ways that you can control and filter what Quipt sees, primarily by warehouse. So if you have multiple warehouses, you can specify which warehouse you want to expose inventory to Quipt. Additionally, you can also filter specific sales reps. If you have an e-com manager and you only want their inventory to be exposed to Quipt, you could put in their initials here, and we would only ingest that data into our system. Furthermore, as John mentioned, you do have full control of even something that gets ingested into Quipt. You get to decide where you want to expose that product for each marketplace. So a number of ways that you control what Quipt sees and what gets pushed out to the universe. We'll circle back to these. This is more kind of order management, additional user-defined fields that you can add to IQ Reseller for data that Quipt collects that you might want to be visible in reporting or be included on the SO when it's generated in IQ Reseller. But it's as simple as that. What I also want to illustrate is, okay, now we have all of these products coming into Quipt. What are we going to do with them? We want to expose that to an audience. Well, I'm going to use Shopify as an example because Shopify is just as easy to sync as IQ Reseller. So I'd put in the store name here. I'd click Start. I have my API token. I can copy and paste that into my Shopify partner. Now, not only do we have all of the inventory coming into Quipt, we have a direct API feed to Shopify and all of the end-to-end data exchanges that'll support activity between both sides. What that looks like in Quipt is this is the incomplete inventory before we synchronized IQ Reseller. If I go ahead and refresh it, we now have all of the inventory from IQ Reseller into our system. This is incomplete inventory, so it does need to be tied to category-specific structured data, and I'll give you an example of that. But it is a one-time match. So this is just linking your product to content. If it goes out of stock in IQ and then comes back in stock a week later, a month later, a year later, we relink it and push that online automatically. So I'll go ahead and pull up this as an example, and you'll see kind of some of the bare data that we're receiving from IQ Reseller. It is not category specific attribution. rather than populate that category specific data manually, what I can do is search our open catalog for that specific item. We have a couple 100,000 items that have already been, built out. So a simple search off of the manufacturer part number or a UPC, we'll see if it exists in our catalog. And in this case, this processor has already been attributed. I can view it. This would be a confirmation that the item that exists in your warehouse matches to all of this category specific data. And then I could just click merge. We do have a clone feature. So say in the off chance that you have a server, or a power supply, and there's only one attribute that's different. They use the same chassis, but one has a certain graphics card and the other one doesn't. By simply clicking any of these items, you can capture all of the original data, the things that don't change, and create an entirely new item and only provide that one piece of information that varies from the other item that already exists in our catalog. In this case, we'll say that this is the exact same item. So I'm going to go ahead and merge to it. And now we can see that item has been linked to this product. All of the title, the attribution, images, description, bullet point features have been tied to the IQ reseller item. What that then allows us to do is this item would now move into complete. It's in a publishable status. So we could determine where we want it to get published, as well as what price we want it to sell at. So I'll show you a couple of different options that we have for pricing management. So say in the case that you want to equalize off of a singular sales price. You don't care where it sells, you want to have a consistent pricing and buying experience, whether it sells on Amazon, Shopify, eBay, etc. We have all of the calculators built in. So you can see, even though you have an equalized SRP, you have a varying recovery because different channels will work off of different selling commissions. So by hovering over, you can see if it sells for the same amount on every website, this is what you would expect to net if it sells on that website. Alternatively, we can work the other way around, where regardless of where it sells, we want to make $1,000. And we're now doing the reverse calculation to protect your margin. And now we see varying SRPs. You can override either one of those, where you can equalize off of a recovery, but say Shopify, we can make a little bit more on that. So we're going to sell that for $14.99. So you can do equalized off of an SRP, a recovery, or go one by one and set a sales price per channel. So in this case, I turned on Shopify. I'm going to go ahead and save it.
Hey, Trevor, before you move on to more, what all storefronts can you work with?
It would actually be easier to say the ones that we don't. At a high level, every major marketplace, business to business channel, we can share some documentation after the call, but yeah, I'd say that we could take offline.
Okay.
But in this case, I've saved this item. It's published on Shopify. I can click the hyperlink and look at all of the data that was created by Quipt. And this happens near real time. So we're now ingesting all of this inventory to Quipt. Any sort of quantity changes that happen will happen near real time to ensure that we're not overselling or overexposing products that are constantly changing inventory throughout the day. Now we start generating orders. So here's the Quipt orders page. It'll consolidate all of the order activity for every channel that you're connected with and show all of the customer information, the product that was purchased, the pricing, as well as the order status. So what we'll see here is I purchased this processor. I can see the price that it was purchased for. I can see the channel that it was sold on. More importantly, I can see the shipment status. So taking a step back, we do sync with all major carriers. So you can sync your UPS, your FedEx, your USPS account when an order is placed, because we know the customer's address, because we know your warehouse address, and because we know the product's shipping dimensions and weight, we ping all carriers in real time, seeing who is the cheapest cost to ship this item. And labels will be generated automatically. Because we've generated the shipping label, we are able to monitor the status of the package. And we can see that out of these 3 orders, 2 of them have shipped and 1 has not. The reason that this is flagged as a late shipment pickup is this order is 3 days old and hasn't been received by the carrier. Now, there's a number of reasons why that might happen. In this case, somebody forgot to generate the label that day. But we do collect your shipping cutoff. So if an order was received before your shipping cutoff and does not get scanned by the end of day that day, your shipping or warehouse manager would get a nice notification. That way somebody can jump on it and reduce the likelihood of some sort of negative feedback or performance ding on your marketplace account. So as far as printing labels go, it can be a single click, or it can be filtered by specific channel, by FedEx or UPS. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and print the label. What will be downloaded is a templatized packing slip. So you have the ability to attach your personal color palette, your logo, your verbiage. This is a demo account, so it doesn't have anything in here. In the case of Back Market, as well as some other channels, they require a specific template for all packages that go out. Our system automatically builds and attaches any channel's required template so that you guys don't have to, and you don't end up hitting any sort of performance dings for not including that with the shipment. If I scroll down, I see the pick list. We received a serial number from IQ Reseller. All of this is barcode scanned, as well as the shipping label that just gets peeled off and put on the package. So now that I've printed this shipping label, I'll go ahead and put it on the box. And later this afternoon, when FedEx picks this up, that order will automatically go from late shipment pickup to shipped. So now we'll kind of compare the views, because most of the activity is going to be actually managed within IQ Reseller. What does this look like in IQ? Well, it should be a 1-to-1 match. So we can see the 3 orders that are placed in Quipt, 3 orders that match in terms of pricing, PO numbers, SO numbers, as well as the status. And this will kind of go back to that first page when we sync IQ Reseller. Some of the data that you can also drive in and pull from Quipt using the user-defined fields is that we see the Quipt order status. So this is a user-defined field that I set. So as your team is going through and they're looking at reserved orders that need to be invoiced, we push the order status. So the difference between this order and the second order, which was the one that was in late shipment pickup, is this one is not shipped, it's ordered. So it hasn't been shipped yet, might not want to invoice it, but really an unlimited number of additional fields that you can pull from Quipt using the user-defined section within IQ Reseller. And for those that haven't spent a lot of time in there, it's as simple as going to your system setup, going to your SO, and these are the 3 fields that I put in there. So I've got a user-defined field 1, 2, and 3. And I could just set those a user-defined 1 field. I want to send the PO number, and user-defined 5. You could set the retailer, the tracking, but additional data that you can pull into IQ Reseller from Quipt to make it a little bit easier to not have to go back and forth between the 2 platforms. Another thing to note is the ability to determine how serials are allocated. For the most part, I would assume that serialization would be managed on the IQ side. We do have additional options to just have Quipt do a FIFO or a LIFO. But in this case, the order would go into an open status within IQ. You would scan the barcode of the serial number as you've gone through your pick, pack, and ship process. And then IQ Reseller would send that data back to us on the next API exchange.
Yeah, and that's very important to point out as well. If I'm going to put my operational hat on first is look is, you know what, if it was driven by a serial number, that means if you had 400 of the same item, you have to go pick through those 400 items to go find that. So being able to you dictate which one that you're going to pull as long as it matches that exact record, which all that data goes back into IQ, like you see here, which is important why you have to have clean, accurate data to know that item matches what you just sold. Is then once you reserve that product to the sales order, that goes then right back to Quipt. And as you saw in previous a couple previous I don't want to say slides but screens before, is the exact serial number went right to that packing slip too.
Exactly. And yeah, just adding on to that, if Quipt allocates a serial number, there's a chance that that could be the bottom box on, under 50 other items. So the ability for you to simply just go in, scan the serial number. In the meantime, we've already allocated that unit in our system. We've decremented the inventory across all other marketplaces that you're selling on, mitigate any sort of oversolds, cancellations, possible, selling restrictions. But it also is allocating that inventory, a unit within IQ, just waiting for the serial number to be tied to it.
Excellent.
The last piece that I'll go over is our request module. So as many of you know, you're going to sell online. At some point, you're going to get a customer calling or emailing you because they received a defective item and they either want an exchange or a return. Something that everybody has to deal with, but we believe that we have a productivity tool that is really going to streamline that process, avoid having to staff for it internally. And here's what that looks like. The goal being, in any case, being able to get the customer off the phone or return an email within 60 seconds and never have to touch that case again. So I'm going to go ahead and pick an order. In this case, it's a 3-piece order. You can search by the order number, IQ SO number, customer's name, address. We can see the serial numbers, the different items that this customer purchased, allows your support team to validate the item that you're expecting to get returned back, eliminates any sort of return fraud, wrong item being received. But in this case, we'll select this bottom. And for this demo, we're just going to say that the customer got a defective item, they want to return it, and they want an exchange. So customer wants to return it, it's defective. We want to send them a prepaid label because we don't want to get a negative feedback and it was potentially our fault, and they want an exchange. As quickly as that, I've gotten them off the phone. They've received a prepaid label immediately. Our system is tracking the progress of that prepaid label. So your receiving manager would get a notification once that arrives. That way there's no late return processing. Again, trying to mitigate any sort of negative feedback or performance dings. And they simply scan the barcode in, it locates this order number, they validate it, they click process, and our system completes the actions based off of the resolution that your support team input here. So in this case, an exchange order would be dropped again to IQ reseller. Those two would be tied together. So you do know it's an exchange. In the case they wanted a refund, we are integrated to all of these marketplaces, refund and returns programs. So a refund would automatically get pushed to the customer. No additional touch points from IQ or your support staff. Furthermore, we do capture all of this data. So as far as QA, you can look at all of the products that have high, post sales contacts, defect rates, et cetera. Hopefully be able to identify whether it's a missing gap in the process, something not being kitted correctly, or just something missing. You have all of that visibility to identify these issues before they spiral out of control. Now that really does cover it for the demo. I know it probably sped through that or seemed like we were speeding through that fairly quickly, but hopefully that does illustrate how easy it is to sync IQ reseller, sync a website, create a product, post it, ship an order, and possibly post-sale support.
Yeah, it's just something we even talked about earlier, Trevor. It's just, we can't really, it's too hard to make something so simple long and drawn out. It's two great tools coming together, and once you have good accurate data, is it can make selling online essentially a great new avenue for you, but it also makes it easy as well. It seems like it's a daunting task, but when you have two good tools that come together, like I said, makes it simple. We do have a question in the chat that came in. Is Trevor, this one's for you, is can you sync to BigCommerce?
We don't currently have a BigCommerce integration. It has been put on our roadmap. I would have to get back as far as where that lies on our roadmap. So as of today, no.
And then what about Volusion?
That is not on our integration list and hasn't been added to our roadmap yet.
And then the sync process, when you're syncing with us, how often can you pull our data?
We pull it near real time. We have a number of IQ reseller merchants. I could get the exact frequency, but understand Quipt is not going to completely replace your existing model. We're hopefully going to complement it. So all of our other IQ clients, they do still maintain a supply chain, a wholesale model, and that frequency hasn't caused any sort of oversold or quantity being out of sync issues.
Yeah, remember, you do get to manage what you want to sell. It's not going to hijack nothing. Like Trevor says, it's a tool to complement your process and make things easier. And then WooCommerce?
No with WooCommerce as of today.
The last one is cost. That is, it varies.
We have a number of pricing models. Would say that would probably be best answered over or offline with kind of some one-on-ones. That's something that we would want to kind of look into the scope of what we would be supporting.
We can follow up as well. I'm sure Quipt can follow up and go, but it does, the value add is the to minimize on labor. That's all the questions that I see that are coming in. I'm sorry, Trevor, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Nope, I was just going to say that was up. We got here, you know what? This is actually a very good question. Everything shown, is this all of the default package?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we don't trickle down or expose some features and not others. So everything that was demoed today is part of the package.
One-stop shop. I like it. So, okay, Trevor.
There was one more question. Where is credit card information collected at? We do not collect any payment from any marketplace sales. So any sort of credit card information, that's all protected by the marketplaces. We don't see any of that information. None of that makes it to IQ. So hopefully that answered your question.
So it is safe and secure.
Yes, it is. We never get that data. Obviously, the Amazon and eBay wouldn't be in business today if they were handing out every merchant's customers' credit card numbers.
And while you were actually talking, there was another question that came in: is would we have to still build listings in items for eBay, or is it all done through Quipt?
That would be all done through Quipt. So it is a full end-to-end solution for every marketplace that you sell on. So I'll quickly go back to, let's see where
why don't you take it back to that original screen where you started?
Right. So as you saw me turn this link onto Shopify, you want to sell it on eBay, it creates the listing. You want to sell it on Back Market and Newegg Marketplace, Newegg Business, the listing is created.
Give it another minute to see if any questions come through. If not, I think we'll give 30 minutes back to everyone on this call. The cost model depends on certain situations. We'll have to follow up with you, or Quipt will have to follow up with you. And then one last question is product data and photos included as part of the service?
Yes, it is. We do have an open catalog. So if the item already exists, you are just tying your asset to the catalog information. So I'll briefly give another example, maybe an iPhone
And this is where it
XR.
comes into having good, clean data, so you know exactly where to map those items to.
So you'll see we've got a number of different iPhones. All of this data already exists. There's no fee to inherit this content. So you'll see that the attribution is category specific, and there's much more comprehensive data for an iPhone as a processor, which is the first thing that we demoed. Where this is particularly important is, you look at, well, just about every major marketplace. I'll use Newegg and Back Market as an example, is they have advanced searches and filters. For a smartphone, it's who's the carrier, what's the condition, what's the storage size, et cetera, et cetera. And that'll be different information for a server or a storage rack or a power supply, where technically you could have your product online on any of these marketplaces. But as customers start using that left side nav and select, I need at least 8 gig of RAM, I need at least a quad core processor, or I'm buying a power supply, and they select the wattage that they need, your item might very well be on the website, but it gets omitted from the search results because you haven't mapped to these channels structured data.
This question led into actually another good question here is, could this catalog include the items such as parts that could be internal of a printer?
Yes, we do have a catalog for components, for if you want to sell just the toner, power cords, USB cables. It is all inclusive. Just about anything that you can sell online, we can support it.
Which led to another great question is, what if that item's not in the catalog? Can you add it?
Yes, absolutely. Through a number of ways.
Great. If anyone on this call wants to learn more about this, feel free to reach out to myself or Trevor. On the first slide there was a email set up for this, which was iqr@getquipt.com, or you can reach out to myself direct as well. I can answer any questions that you may have about the process of this, or we can schedule a call to learn more of how this solution could work for you.
Beautiful.
Oh. All right, everyone. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Everyone take care now.